Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden. And today on this beautiful spring day, overcast, absolutely gorgeous, we are going to be working on this front curb section of the front garden. Okay, so we did the section to the left over here. And now this section is the next one to do. It goes from basically the gutter over here and it goes around this corner right here. There's a lot of cleanup in here in that there's a whole lot of weeds. There's several perennials, a few shrubs that need to be cut back. We're going to check in on some of the perennials that I planted in the fall. I think there's like almost 10 new perennials in this garden. We're also be going through and pulling all of the daffodil blooms right here. So they've all bloomed out and now they are starting this thing where they start to try making seeds. Let me show y'all. So they try to start making these kind of seed pod things, which really takes a lot of nutrients away from the bulb. And I really don't want the bulb wasting energy on this. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all of the heads of the daffodil blooms, but we are going to leave the leaves in place. And we really want to leave the leaves in place because the bulb still needs to draw energy and it still needs to put a lot of energy into the bulbs. So I'm just going to go through real quick and get these all pulled up. I just pull on them. I don't cut them. It helps you get longer stems if you're trying to collect them for for cut flowers. But truthfully, this is really nice just to, I'm not worried about like cutting any of the leaves on accident or anything like that. So this just makes it really handy just to come in here, give them a little tug. I had some people concerned that if they were to pull them like this, that it would pull the whole bulb up. Not really. I mean, these bulbs have been here for a couple of years. If your bulbs are, established in your garden and they're rooted in, those roots are going to hold it in place. And if you're grabbing just the stem and not all the rest of the leaves, you're not going to pull it up. Now, if you have them planted in like a new raised bed garden, maybe that you put your own soil in and it hasn't compacted at all, and it's just really like very loamy, soft earth, yeah, maybe you could pull these up, accidentally pull up the whole bulb. But I haven't run into any kind of issue with accidentally pulling up a bulb at any point in time. Okay, next thing I want to do in here is I have a lot of weeds. I'll show you some of the different weeds. I don't really know all the names for them. This is kind of some little grassy weed. And I always want to make sure that I pull them before they get too far along because these are seeds right there. We don't want to seeding anywhere else in the garden. And I don't treat my garden with, I don't use any weed killer or anything like that in the garden. More from laziness than anything else. I don't really want to spend the money on it. And then secondly, I don't mind pulling weeds. I certainly don't want to be pulling weeds for days and days and days, but I don't mind pulling them. I kind of enjoy it a lot of times. Then I have these big broadleaf weeds over here that are the dandelions. So what I do is I just kind of gather up all of the leaves in one and then pull up. It has a big tap root, so a little bit harder to pull up, but not too hard. It rained recently, so the soil is soft, so it makes it a lot easier to pull up weeds. Now, in this back area, I have tried using a hoe before, just to kind of take off the tops and let the roots die, and everything's just kind of come back with a vengeance. So I haven't really do that as much anymore. I really just spend time pulling them out. I also get this guy, which is kind of got some white flowers on it. I'm not sure what that variety is either. It comes up a lot in the spring. Got some clover that peeks out too. But I'm just going to go ahead, spend a few minutes going around and pulling all the weeds and getting this area cleaned up before we start doing some additional planting and pruning. Okay, we've got a few things going in here. Over here is I think it's supposed to be a perennial. I could be wrong. I'll have to look it up. It was a status. It was like a seafoam status. Very cool. And I've cut that back. I don't see any new growth on it yet, so it might not have survived, but we will see. Right here, these right here are heated up Gaillardia by Proven Winners. And even though Gaillardia is supposed to be a perennial in my area, the heated up Gaillardia does not overwinter for me, or at least hasn't in the past. I'm looking at its base right now, and I don't see any green growth, where I do see green growth in some of my other Gaillardias that aren't this particular variety. So I don't know if it's coming back or not. I'm not pulling the whole plant up just in case it does decide to come back. But I don't know. I guess maybe it looks a little green. I don't know. We'll see what it does. And there are two of them over here, so I'm just pulling both of those out. Moving the soil around a little bit. Not sure what that is right there. Pulling up any weeds that I see along the way. Now back here I have a barberry. This is an admiration barberry. And I'm just going to do a light trim on the edges that are coming forward. Now this is covered in thorns, so you definitely want to make sure that you're wearing gloves when you're doing this. But this will be its second season with me, and it should bloom out soon. And it's a really great color right here, contrast, because it has kind of like a red tones, which look really nice. But I'm just going to clean that up just a little bit. Now beside the barberry over here are some hardy or cool flowers, or hardy annuals that I started from seed. So right here I've got some foxglove, and I have some lupin that I started that I'm really kind of excited about. Let me move this guy out of the way. That I'm really kind of excited about because it made it over the winter, and maybe I might actually get some blooms from it. So I'm super psyched about that. Got some more foxglove over here. I've got maybe 8 or 9 lupins in here, but they're all looking really, really nice. Of course, all the daffodils, and then tons of pansies left over from my winter planting. Okay, a couple other perennials right here. These right here are the banana cream Shasta daisies. I transplanted them last fall. They were on the side of the house. They're already coming up better than I think that they have in the past, so I'm really happy to see that. Here's another variety of weed that I run into. Let me see if I can get that whole guy out of there. Here we go. But I have 2 of them right there, which I think will be really nice as well. Then I've got some foxglove tucked up beside it. Right here is a little bit of sedum that hasn't done really great. It's an autumn joy sedum. I might end up transplanting it this year. It doesn't love that location. You've seen the pansies are all still in really good shape. I'm going to keep the pansies. I definitely don't want to get rid of them. And they're not going to be a lot to look at right here. These are some pink profusion salvias right here. I've got, I believe, 3 of them tucked in this area. Back here I've got a phlox. I can't remember what the variety is, but I'll put it down below so that you guys can see. This is the phlox right here. There's 2 of them. The other one's back over there. Okay, now in this section I've got a couple of different things going. These are foxglove that I grew from seed. Excited to have those. These right here are some asters that I purchased from Lowe's last fall and planted. Beautiful purple color. I think this like Grape Queen, Grape something. I'll put the picture and the name up below for you guys to see. They are a shorter variety of asters, so they're not being grown as cut flowers. They're really just being grown for this like beautiful pop of color at a time of the year where I don't have a lot going. So I am on these foxgloves, removing some of the not so great leaves, just cleaning them up. And then I am going ahead, cutting these asters down. They've got a lot of new growth in them already, as you can see by all this green coming up right here, all that new growth right there, which looks really good. And there's 3 of them over here. Okay, there's a lot of things going on in this section. This concave you see right here is a planter, so we'll end up putting that back. Right here, this all is color spectacle dahlia and Mother's Choice dahlia that have been here for years. And you can see that they're already putting off new growth. I'm just gonna pull off the older parts in here and get it cleaned up a little bit. They're coming up right there, and then beside it, this is my line to my container right here. Beside it is a penstemon. I think it might be Midnight Masquerade. I'm not really sure what the variety is. It's been here a really long time, and I planted it years ago before I had a channel, so I didn't really care about saving all the names. But so it's right here, and it's already starting to put off a lot of growth. I'm just gonna go clean up some of the dried stems. Just like that. You'll probably notice I am wearing gloves today, which I know is shocking. There's a lot of like prickly things right now, it seems like, and I just wanted to be careful and make sure that I was protecting myself a little bit. Now, back here is another dahlia. I believe this one is actually the Mother's Choice back here, so it's a little bit slower to start, but let me dig around here. I do see some green starting to come up, which is good. This back here is also a penstemon. Get that a little cleaned up. Just like that. Now this right here is a rock rose, Texas rock rose. And so this has beautiful pink flowers that just bloom and bloom and bloom. So this will be really fun to have this year as well. Okay, back here, this right here is a pink Turk's cap. And this will be, I guess it's third year here. It does usually come back, which is always fun. And then this right here, I believe is weeds. However, I'm unsure. It might not be. Could be something else. I'm going to have to look back in my videos and see if I planted something else right here. If I didn't, then I will come back and pull these up. They're very distinct. I haven't seen these other leaves anywhere else in the garden, so it might be a perennial that I popped back here. Okay, we got just a weed right here, some other weeds across the front here. A lot of times with like these smaller weeds, I can literally just like run my hands through the soil and dislodge their roots. And that works really, really well for cleaning them up. And underneath this dianthus, those are all weeds right there. So we'll pull those up, get those out of there, get cleaned up. Now this right here is a dianthus. I believe it's called peach something. What I'm going to do is I'm really just going to go in here and try to pull out some of the dead parts that don't look as good, and I am going to try to spread the plant out a little bit because it's growing mostly forward towards the edge of the bed. Open it up a little bit like that. Cut off some of the old stuff, see if that helps just begin encouraging some new blooms. And I have two of them. This one right here does not look nearly as good as that one right there, but I'm just going to go ahead and give it a trim and see if that begins to start helping out. This guy that I'm breaking off back here is lantana, and I won't be seeing my lantana for several weeks still. It's still really early for my lantana to be peaking up. You gotta have some consistent warm weather to really get that going. And then this right here is an additional color spectacle dahlia, and it already has greens coming up. You can see right back there. Cleaned up right there. Looks good. Okay, this guy really needs to be cleaned up. I don't really want to get out the hedge trimmers right now, and I've been thinking about purchasing just some of the ones that are just handheld ones. So I may do that in a couple of weeks. This guy can be taken back almost a foot in a lot of places, but he is very soft and very fluffy, and I do love him, and he casts shade behind him, which is really nice. but that's looking pretty good. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I've got my plant tone, and I really want to put some plant tone at the base, so like the barberry and all of the perennials. And I'm just going to keep it really simple. I just pour it a little in place and scratch it into the ground. It's just not a big, massive deal. But adding just a little bit of that just helps the growth of these plants so much, which is very exciting. So let me go ahead and get a bunch of those knocked out. Okay, so the next part I'm doing is working petunias in between a lot of these pansies, because they are going to start to work their way out. Now these are called Petunia Shockwave Deep Purple, and I grew them from seed. So the hopes is that as these pansies begin to fizzle, that these will continue to take off in this kind of front curve area is my main focus. I also have some tie-dye ones mixed in here, some tie-dye petunias, but we're not going to be planting those today, just the Shockwave Deep Purple. Now right here in the middle, I have a summerific hibiscus. I think it's called like cherry choco latte or something like that. I'll put a picture and name up. So it is right there, but the petunias, by the time this really starts getting big, the petunias will be long gone at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and just take my time and go ahead and place them. Some of them say tie-dye, but they're not tie-dye. This one says tie-dye, but it's not. But I'm just going to kind of work them into this particular area. All the rest are tie-dye, so I don't have nearly as many purple as I thought. But I still think a concentration of these petunias right here in this area will work really nicely. With each one of these I place, I am going to put a little bit of a handful of fertilizer in each one. Okay, so got this pot here and I have a drip that goes to it. And last year I had a salsa dancer hibiscus in it, which was lovely. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to put another tropical hibiscus in here. But for now, let's go ahead and fill it with some of those tie-dye petunias. Spilling over would be absolutely beautiful. Let's see if I can get this a little bit better situated. And these are a tie-dye variety. I'll put a picture up on them since these aren't blooming yet. I'm going to put 4 of them in there. They should just spill right over the edge of the pot, which would be glorious. And when these fizzle out, once our weather gets super hot, I will change them out for something else. Like I said, I really liked having a hibiscus here, so probably a hibiscus. All right, and then I've got my drip already. Just going to position that in the middle of the pot. We're good to go. Okay, so I forgot to fill this the other day when I was working on this portion of the garden. So I think in order to repeat a little bit, I'm going to add in the rest of those tie-dye petunias right here. I think that'll be a nice tie-in. And this guy is also set up to drip, which is really good. I had scapevola in here last year and it did really well for quite a while. All right, there we go. And here is the drip. Just stick that right in the middle. And I do need to prop this guy up so he has better drainage. Okay, so I want to add some more color back here, and I love Persian Shield. And I used to grow it all the time, and I've just really forgotten about it. It is an annual in my area. This variety is from Proven Winners. It's called Proven Accents Persian Shield, full to part sun, 18 to 36 inches tall. So imagine these big, bold, beautiful purple, silvery leaves back here in a mass planting. I have 5 of these to put back here, and how they'll come up, and the crepe myrtle has red, all this green, and then this purple worked in will be absolutely beautiful. It's very upright, very vertical, up to 36 inches. Annual acceptance zones 9A to 11B, hardy down to 28 degrees Fahrenheit. And it is full to part sun. So anyway, I just really thought that a cluster of these could really just kind of take this area to the next level. So really, I kind of want to put like, I don't want to go too far forward. I don't want to go in front of the container because if it grows up really big. So I kind of want to accent like this back portion of the container. Let me move some of this soil a little bit forward. I think might be nice. I've got a phlox right here, so I don't want to interfere with that either. I'm thinking right kind of like this is my thought process. So I'm going to go ahead and get those in, and I am going to add some fertilizer in with them. Okay, so I know these look little now, but I really think that this will end up being pretty amazing in this space. And I love purple, and I love this idea of like a foliage as opposed to a flower. I think will be very cool. Okay, for this next part, I want to work in some coleus. And I've grown coleus in this section before, and it's just done beautifully. So I have 2 different varieties that I grew from seed that I'm going to be putting. The first one is Calacha Sunset. I think these are from Baker Creek. And these are a shorter variety. So I'm going to mix them into like the first 1.5 feet. I'm going to be tucking them in among all of these pansies here. And then as all of this dies back and all the pansies die back, the Calacha Sunset will be coming up with this warm color for the summer, which I think will be really great. And then in the back, I have Black Dragon. And I'm going to be tucking it in among all the foxglove and all the lupin back here. And I think that that will look really, really beautiful as well. I might spill a little bit over the gutter to that edge just to tie it in a little bit instead of it just being this hard, distinct line. But I am going to be adding plant tone to every single one of them. So let's get that knocked out. I'm out of breath. I like this. So you see the Calacha Sunset tucked in, and then back here we have the Black Dragon, which gets much taller. And I think that'll end up filling in the space really well. Growing so much by seed is really allowing me to like overfill my garden this year, which is my ultimate goal. I love a jam-packed garden. I love when almost all the soil is hidden from all of the plants. It helps a lot with weeds and water retention. It's looking good. It's looking really good. I'm very pleased. Even on these purple petunias over here, tucked in, I mean, they're barely growing, and look at the vibrant pop. Okay, I need to install one more container over here and then we'll be done for the day. Okay. So over in this area, I have a container that sits there and definitely needs to be propped up this year. And it typically has all these blue rocks that tie into other areas of the garden. I had a whole bunch of alyssum in here during the fall. And this is actually a hose container. So you would like wrap your hose up in it. But I've been using it as a planter. I really, really love it. All right, we're going to add some plant tone to the container, and then I'm going to be planting in it some Triumph petunias that I grew from seed. And I think I'm going to start with 3 of these. I can't tell what colors they are. And the variety that I grew is a mix. It's my knife. So I went ahead and added some plant tone to it to make sure that I can repurpose this soil this year. Go ahead and tuck these in. Most likely it's going to be a purple, pink, white, somewhere around there combination, which works great for what I've been adding in. And then I'll tuck in some of the blue rocks, which I love. And there we go. Okay, let's take a look. Did a lot over here. So we did get this guy planted up with the tie-dye petunias. And then we added the Calacha Sunset coleus, and then backed it up with Black Dragon coleus that's tucked in among these lupin and the foxglove. Trimmed up the barberry, pulled up we deadheaded all of the daffodils, which looks great. Added this pot in, filled it with more of the tie-dye petunias, planted in a bunch of this Persian shield to create just this wall of purple back here, I think, which will be absolutely beautiful. We pruned a whole bunch of the perennials, and I went ahead and fertilized all of them. We added in some of these Shockwave purple petunias as well into this area, just to kind of start filling in. These will get pretty big, so this will look really nice in that area. Did some more cleanup of perennials over here, trimming, pruning, added fertilizer. We added this pot and filled it with Triumph petunias. Cleaned up a little bit more in here. Don't want to forget that. Y'all, that was a lot of work. I think it looks really good. It took like 2 hours of hard work. Feels really good though. The only thing I purchased for that was the Persian shield. Everything else is grown from seed, which is incredibly exciting, because in the past I would have bought all that coleus and I would have purchased all of that petunias already pre-grown through a nursery. There's nothing wrong with that. It just getting to the point where I have a vision for my garden and my vision does not fit my budget. So growing from seeds really helps out in that aspect. Check out this guy behind me. I just got him today. This is a contorted Filbert contorta tree. We'll be talking about that soon. We're gonna be planting that up for the back porch. Very exciting. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, just seeing me continue to work my way around the front garden. I have 2 to 3 more distinctive areas of the side garden to go to now. We've done all of the front, with the exception of the porch. We haven't done anything on the porch yet. We've done all the front garden beds, and now we're going to be working our way down the side garden beds. And it kind of changes a little bit on those in that those receive west-facing sun. I always have a sweet lady who always reminds me, Vicky, always reminds me to talk about which direction my garden is pointing. So where I am now at the front of the house, it faces northwest, a little bit northwest, mostly north, but a little bit west as well. But the corner of the house ends up shading, so it ends up working out well. So that's this direction, but when we get to the side garden, it faces straight up west. It gets all the hot sun. So it'll be really fun because it's a very different garden than what you guys have been seeing here in the front garden. All right, y'all, as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Every time you like and comment, it grows my channel so much, but more than anything, I just really enjoy the communication back and forth with you all. And make sure you check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.